Right, this is the Committee on Government Operations, Public Safety, and Public Service. This is Thursday, June 8, 2017. We're at 6 p.m. I have Councilor McKinnon.
Here.
I have Councilor McLaughlin.
Here.
I have Councilor Delasola.
Here.
And I have Councilor Capone.
Here.
We have 4 members present. We do have a quorum.
Please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we invite our guest from the state police before us to speak about item number 1, please.
Number 7. Motion made and suspend the rules, take item number 7. All those in favor? All those opposed? And invite the state police up for...
All right, item number 7. This is a resolution up by Councilor McLaughlin to invite the Police Traffic Division representative to the Public Safety Committee meeting to discuss the traffic flow at Sweetser Circle and Santilli Circle.
Trooper, just state your name for the record, please.
Trooper Phil Kucha. I'm out of the Medford Barracks, State
Thank
Police
you.
Medford Barracks.
Thank you for appearing. Councilman McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Press it once.
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to have to start the dialogue. I know Mass DOT has been in contact with me. I believe that the casino developers have gone out to bid either today or in the most recent days to award a contract to start road construction for their road mitigation program that they're held responsible for in the mitigation package to the city of Everett. I'm quite concerned about what you see today, as we all do, on both Sweetser Circle. Santilli Circle has got pretty good. That's the one at the Best Buy Gateway Mall intersection, just so the people at home know, if they don't know the names. Santilli Circle is the one in front of the
Best
Gateway
Buy.
Mall.
Yeah.
Sweetser Circle is the one up at the intersection of Broadway and Main Street, Revere Beach Parkway, Lower Broadway. You see every single day congestion for several hours in the morning. It really handicaps, cripples our city and shuts it basically off from Lower Broadway in Boston. I'm quite concerned. I had a personal incident where I had to be taken to Mass General Hospital in Boston in an ambulance early in the morning a few years back, and I was stuck at the Rotary myself in an ambulance for a significant amount of time. Now, my situation wasn't life-threatening, thank God, but if it was, those few minutes or those whatever amount of time you're there can change the outcome of somebody's life.
Sure.
And I'm quite concerned with that. So tonight was just kind of to open the dialogue. I'm hoping that we'll learn more. I know there's a community meeting next week for the WIND group. I'm sure we'll learn more there, but I think it's time that we start to at least talk about where we go, because over the next year there's going to be significant construction in that area, and I'm sure my colleagues share the same concerns with me, and I know Councilor Capone does, that represents that other side of Lower Broadway, as we've spoken about this in the past. So I'd like to hear from the gentleman, the trooper that came tonight, that took his time to be here tonight to talk with us. He sees it in a different aspect than we do. Obviously, he's responded to the calls and sees the traffic patterns and so forth. So I'd like to just hear some of the facts that he shared with us, and then open it up to any questions.
Sure. Trooper, do you have any insight on this that you could share with us? Once it's green, it's...
I got it.
Yeah.
I would say bottom line, I think Santilli Circle, which is the lower one you referenced, I think that's in good shape. There's really nothing that can be done about the traffic there. Sweetser Circle, I believe that's an absolute mess. Traffic is abysmal, especially during commuting times. As I was saying earlier before the meeting, I would say hundreds of accidents a month, many of which go unreported. They're just exchanges between operators for insurance purposes, many very minor in nature. Again, fortunately, it is a low-speed rotary or roundabout, however you want to label it. But I definitely think something needs to be done with the traffic in the area. The area is poorly marked, very minimal signage, as well as road markings as well.
What accidents per day? Do you have the numbers on that?
I don't have any exact numbers, but I would estimate a minimum of 3 to 4 accidents per day. I don't have exact numbers of statistics that we respond to, but again, like I said, there's many that go undocumented, just because they're extremely minor in nature. Sometimes, the operators will get into a small crash, get out of the vehicle, look at their car, say, there's nothing wrong with it, and we'll both be on our way. Again, when that does happen, as minor in nature as that is, that does cause more of a backup and more of a traffic delay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything additional on that, or?
No, that would be it.
Open it up for questions to the council. Councilman Capone, then Councilman Delasola.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to our invited guest, Trooper, thank you for being here this evening. You're talking about the roads being poorly marked and signage as well. What kind of things would you recommend with regards to that?
I would recommend freshly painted lines. I know the roadway itself is in poor conditions. In some cases, people may decide that they want to try to avoid a pothole and exit their lane, but there really isn't a lane marked. Any type of rotary or anything like that, it is a one-lane roadway. Traffic that's continuing on to the next exit should go to the inside of the rotary and then only move to the outside. Again, this swerving in and out of this inside to outside, that's causing crashes. And again, just like the counselor said, any type of emergency response with that type of traffic backed up, whether it caused, traffic backed up to the rotary from lights on, 99 or, Broadway or Route 16, it does inhibit any type of emergency response, whether responding to the circle itself or elsewhere, whether by local or state or, medical.
Okay. And in terms of signage, what kinds of things do you think we should be looking towards?
I don't think there's any one magic bullet that's going to solve everything. There are posted yield signs. I don't have I don't have an answer that would solve it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate your insight. Thank you for coming in here
Welcome.
tonight.
Thank you.
All set, Councilor?
I'm all set.
Councilman Delasola.
Thank you. It seems like you can go there in the morning at 6:15 at the Rotary, and that traffic is all the way down to the casino
It's horrible.
on 99.
It's horrible.
I'm no engineer, but it seems like the lights on 99 near the casino, especially the new set they put in there, makes it worse than what it is. Once you get past the casino property, it seems to break at the bridge. It goes pretty decent.
I think anytime you have 2 lanes of traffic dumping into 1 lane of traffic, you have that bottleneck. And when you combine that bottleneck with a set of lights, it's going to cause traffic problems. It's going to cause a backup.
Because
you
there's
know.
3 to 4 set of lights within a 200-foot span.
And again, and I don't deal with the timing of those lights.
Correct.
Again, traffic studies can be conducted to figure out, higher traffic times. You can set the lights to work at different intervals at different times. But again, I'm not I would recommend some sort of, like a traffic assessment, engineering survey of vehicle traffic times, low traffic, high traffic. Assess maybe some of the, I understand that parking is at a premium in any city, but sometimes some of these parking lanes, they could be used better to alleviate traffic.
Right. I wish, through the chair, I wish we could, I wish I had a map of what they were gonna be doing on the Rotary. I have questions on that, I won't get into it tonight. What are they're just gonna redesign the way it is now and it stays the way it is?
Councilor, I believe, not to interrupt, but I believe Wednesday night, they're going to have that at the Conley Center. So we might be able to see something there, so.
Do you have the time and stuff so you could announce it now so that people
Johnny, you know
watching?
the time on that? 6? 6 o'clock at the Conley Center. There'll be a meeting with. Wednesday night, and that's for the wind and all this traffic control.
So this project is
Sure.
a few months away.
It's going to be a major project.
I don't think it's even been assigned to anybody yet, so this ain't gonna happen for 4 to 5, 6 months.
Sure.
Maybe I'm wrong, but it definitely needs repairing, but
Oh, yeah,
to resolve that problem, it's gonna be tough.
absolutely. It's going to take time, but
Have a
it should
detail
work
each
its way
light.
out, hopefully.
Shut the lights off and have a detail on each set of lights, controlling it could be an issue. could be helpful, but we could deal with that next Wednesday night.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
All set, Counselor. Councilman McLaughlin,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I just want to stress that that's Wednesday, June 14th.
14th,
I want to make sure that people at home are watching this over, the say, the next month.
at the
that they-
Conley Center.
At the Conley Center, 6 PM. I just want to make sure that people at home are watching this, say, in 2 weeks from now, don't think that it's the following Wednesday night. So it's Wednesday, June 14th, 6 PM at the Conley Center.
And that's for the
A
wind
community,
traffic.
community meeting with the WIN folks to kind of bring everybody up to date of where we are and where we're heading and so forth.
Is
No,
there any other
I
questions?
just have one last question for Trooper. Have you guys talked internally about working with the WIN group, or, I mean, you guys have sole jurisdiction over state highways, obviously, and Sweetser Circle is a state highway. It's a section of Route 99. Have you guys been working with the WIN group internally to coordinate work efforts? Do you know that?
I mean, that would be, it'd be a question for the, State Police Headquarters.
Okay.
I don't have the answer for that.
And maybe outside of here, but maybe you could give me the contact for the person down at the state.
I can absolutely get you.
And I know former Counselor Gianelli, who served here previously, worked with the state police on some traffic issues in that area and was successful, and they were very helpful and very open to working with our elected officials. So maybe you can just relay, give me that contact information, and I can set up a meeting outside of here with that individual. Just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page and we're all working collaboratively together. I know it's going to be a tough year and a half with all the work and all the construction that's going to happen, and making it as easy for the residents as possible. Unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of that traffic isn't ever traffic. A lot of that traffic is coming off the Tobin Bridge, and they're taking Route 99 off of Route 1, and they come down 99, and that's where the traffic comes on the rotary. Most of it is not from us.
You guys are definitely taking the brunt of it.
Excuse me. So, and for you to agree with that, I just hope that we can start opening dialogue and start having more of these conversations so that we can all work on the same page together. But I want to thank you for coming tonight, taking your time to be here. I look forward to working with yourself and the heads of the Mass State Police at the Medford Barracks to be able to work collaboratively with our community to have as little impact as possible over the next year and a half. But thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate it.
Counselor,
You're welcome.
are you all set? I have
Question.
one more question.
Okay, I apologize.
Councilman Delasola?
Do you know if they talked about doing this work at night, not the daytime? Is that,
I don't know. Again, that's well above what I get paid for. That's, the decisions of those above me. So, but I will absolutely, I'm going to follow up on this meeting with my command, and I will get the appropriate information to you guys that we need right after this. Yep, absolutely.
all right, thank you.
All set, Counselor, with
Yes.
that? Trooper, can you just spell your last name for me?
Kucha, Kucha.
Thank you. And one question that I have is, now, the signal lights that we have down there, are they timed at that circle?
That, I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Is that becoming a problem, or is it?
And which, the flashing yellows?
Yes.
Are you talking at,
There's like pedestrian crossings and all that stuff, and then are they timed, like a specific time or something to that effect?
I don't know. I don't have the answer for that. I don't know.
I mean, if maybe we could look at that as well. I don't know.
I
if
mean,
that-
I would look at the whole picture.
Sure.
I would look at everything because, again, to accommodating higher traffic times versus lower traffic times is definitely in everybody's interest.
Sure.
As well as, you can't just cut the pedestrians off.
Yeah.
You can't-
Exactly.
you're not going to.
They want to go to the mall.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I wanted to thank you again. Tell Danny Ristine, he's a old friend of ours from
All right.
Everett, so tell
I
him
will.
we said hello.
I will.
And thank you.
All right.
Excuse the customary
you.
thanks. Any other questions? Excuse the customary thanks. Thank you for appearing
Thank you very
tonight. What's your pleasure on the piece?
No, we're good. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to try to lay this over, maybe
It's going to be September.
September or October, and kind of just continue to have these follow-up meetings from time to time so that we can continue working collaboratively so that we can keep the line of communication open. So I would not like to see this die tonight, but leave it in committee
Do you
maybe
want,
until.
also, not to, yeah, okay, because I think there's a couple of things that were stated tonight that we can address, but would you want to, I'm going to have Councilman Capone address those.
I'll jump in real quick, because I do know that the lines, I think the circle is state, so we have limited stuff. But what I would recommend, and if the counselor is agreeable, I think we should lay this on the table. We should invite some folks up to address these things. Representative from WIN, representative from Community Development, somebody from DPW, and somebody from the engineer's office, and together try to figure out what things we can tweak in the short run, and maybe there's something we have to do. Maybe there needs to be an engineer report. I don't know if WIN is committed to do that under the host agreement. I would think that they should be. So maybe it's there, maybe we need to push on that.
So, Council, you want WIN Engineers Department from us, also DPW from us?
Yep.
And you
Community
want
Development.
state?
Community Development, yeah, somebody from the state who would be able to address the, would be.
Traffic.
Yeah, someone from traffic, someone who would be able to address the Rotary.
State.
Because we have multiple problems. We have the Rotary, and then we have actual Broadway, so.
State Police and also State of
someone from
Mass?
the- Yeah, someone from State Highway.
Mass Highway?
Yeah. And I think that collectively, that's pretty much everybody. And then,
Should be.
And then we should be able to hash something out and try to find some sort of a short-term solution, try to work on a bigger solution. If my colleague's agreeable with that, I'd amend his motion.
Sure.
to-
Counselor, we're gonna put this out to, what, October? We're gonna put this out, Council, we're gonna put this out to October, later on the table till October. Re-invite someone from WIN, Engineering Everett, Engineering DPW Everett, Community Services Everett, Traffic Everett, State Police again, and then Mass Highway,
Community Development as well.
and Community Development, as well as DCR.
Mr. Chairman,
That way, we'd have everybody in the room, and we could come up with some sort of a short-term solution and try to.
I think that's a great
If it's October, we'll have to see what we can do in the short run.
I think that's a great list. I do want to just say that Mr. Philman from DCR, I believe it is, or Mass Highway Department.
Did you speak to him?
He has been speaking with me closely on this issue, so I want to thank them for also being open, and I know that he's planning on coming to a future meeting. He was tied up tonight at some other meetings, but they have been very cooperative and hoping to
Do you want
work.
him at this meeting?
I do, so
And what's
I'll
his
get
name?
that. I'll get that information to the clerk after this meeting. I think Mrs. McCory already has it as well, so we'll get that and make sure he's invited. But I do want to say that he has been open in working with me as well.
That was in the form of a motion, that
Yep.
right there. So,
Yep.
okay. So all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you for appearing tonight, Trooper. Go Florence Street. You got them here. Yeah, take it. I don't care.
All right.
Suspend the rules and take item number 2?
Motion made to suspend the rules and take item number 2. All those in favor? All those
Aye.
opposed? The ayes have it.
Item number 2, this is a resolution announced by Council Capone regarding the construction progress at Florence Street Park.
Could we have the two gentlemen come up before us? Just state your names and titles, please.
Greg Antonelli, owner, GTA.
Thank you.
Tony Sousa, Director of Planning and Development.
I think there's something wrong with that mic, Tony, so,
Oh, is that one?
yeah, use just the green one, just pass it back.
Tony
and forth.
Sousa, Director of Planning and Development.
Thank you. Councilman McLaughlin, did you?
Mr. Chairman, I'm just going to excuse myself on this matter due to a personal relationship. I'm going to excuse myself from the chambers right now.
So moved. Councilman Capone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you to our invited guests. Gentlemen, thank you for being up here. As we know, this project has gone on forever. So I'm not worried about fingers. I know that the city has acknowledged that there's some issues on the city side. I know that there's been acknowledgement on the other side. I just want it done. I've gotten a lot of dates from our city, but the thing is, they're not out there doing the work. So you would be in a better position to tell me what's left to do, how much longer, when you see an end site. Because the thing that concerns me is that, you know, people are using the park, and I don't blame them. They haven't had a park for years, so they're out there now. And we've got construction debris, we've got equipment, we've got trenches. You know, obviously, they really shouldn't be there, but it's been such a delay that I don't think any of us can stop them. Sure. So what do you think you have for a time frame? What needs to be done? How long do you think it'll take to get it to the point where it's completed?
The majority of the park is complete. The swing sets is done, the rubber play surface is done. The park is actually going to open next week. It was going to open this week, except for the splash portion of it. We have some minor delays with the electrical company, and, the weather hasn't really been great the whole spring. As you know, we lost 3 days this week. We lost 2 days of heavy rain, then the third day it's all mushing. It's not accessible. We're probably looking at mid to late June for the splash portion, provided the electric company brings us the power that we need.
Okay, so I drove by there tonight before I came out. Earlier today, I saw a lot of people in the park working. We've got trenches, there's red caps, there's blue caps.
Yeah.
What are those?
Those are the jets for the water park.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Is it hot and cold, or is it?
No,
All
no.
right, so they're just water jets.
Keep
Red
in mind,
and blue
this
doesn't-
park, there's probably been 3 or 4 parks in this city that have been built with the splash park components in the last 2 years. Out of the 3 or 4 that have been built, a total of 16 to 18 spray heads have been installed. This park has 46 alone. So the magnitude and the capacity of this splash park, people can't even understand this. It was over-designed and overbuilt. Now, that being said, we bid it, we won it, we own the installation of it. And, that's my job, and I'm not denying that. But this park is like water country compared to what's been installed and what's installed typically in most cities and towns.
All right, so it's a massive project then.
It's a ridiculously labor-intensive, detailed project.
So you're thinking mid to late June, everything, like the?
I'm thinking next week we're going to open up the passive portion of it. The swing sets, the benches, the chairs, the play surface, and we're going to fence off the remaining splash portion of it. We're going to put the new fence along Chelsea Street, sod, mulch. We mulched last fall, we're going to remulch everything. The sprinkler, everything will be open and safe, and then we'll fence off the remaining portion that's left with the hopes of a couple more weeks being done.
Okay, so, because that's part of my concern too, is obviously there's work that has to be done. You have to dig holes are remaining. Kids are running around. They're gonna-
Truthfully, the holes will probably, everything's getting backfilled pretty much tomorrow. It's almost done. I mean, I'll take responsibility. I'm a big boy. I've done 21 projects in the city in the last 6 years. 20 of 21 have all come in before the expected date of completion.
And usually you do a good job, and that's, we've been
I'll
patient,
take,
as we know.
but I will say, the only thing I can't and couldn't understand is December, January, February, March. I was getting requested to come up before this honorable board for what? I mean, it's the middle of winter. Typical park construction doesn't happen. But yet, and I won't say this board, I would say you continue to want to beat a dead horse over it. We knew.
It's, with all due respect,
Yeah.
it's not a dead horse, and I think I've extended quite a bit of courtesy to you.
You-
It's been 3 years.
I get it.
It's ridiculous. Out of courtesy to you,
Yeah.
because I know that you're a gentleman,
Yeah.
and you do a good job.
Yeah.
Beating a dead horse, I shouldn't have to, how many times did you come up?
Well, to be
This
honest,
one.
this is the second time that I actually had a formal invitation. I didn't even get a formal invitation
Okay.
for this one. I got
Well,
one.
This is the
But
first time
what-
that you came.
I don't want to have cross debate,
Yeah.
especially, because, number one, it's not my style. Number two, it's not even needed. But what did, Tony gets a letter or an email in December, January, February, March. You knew not much was going to get done. It was the wettest spring we had. We had snow till April. Do you think I'm pleased with what's gone on there? Because if you do, then you really don't know my character, because I'm not pleased. Believe me, I'll be the first to say it.
And that's fine, but. the
And we're
thing
all
is-
trying to wrap up in a positive fashion. We have a few more hiccups that need to be overcome. We'll get there. And then it's done, it's complete. It's taken a long time. I don't disagree with you, believe
And I
me.
appreciate that. The problem is that if an invitation goes out and there's no response, and I don't know what's going on, all I have is what the city's telling me. They're not doing the work. So if I don't have an answer from you as the contractor, I have no idea what the scope of the project is, what's left to do. Even though it's the winter time, I know you're not getting out there and working, but I'm getting calls all the time asking, how long is this gonna go? What's left to do? I don't know. And when I ask the city will say, well, this is what we're told, but they're not out there doing the work. So
Sure.
what I was looking for was a time frame from you as the contractor, because you're in the best position to know.
Well, it was a wet spring. You have
Yeah.
to agree with that. When it's
No,
been.
it was, absolutely was.
Lost
But,
like
no,
16
there were
days since
two other
April 1.
springs. So it is what it is. And so what I'm looking to do, look, I don't want to pound the flesh. I'm not looking for that.
Sure.
All I want to know is a time frame. And you've told me.
Next week, the park's opening. That we are
Okay.
opening the passive portion of it.
And good. And then, and as far as the fencing, like closing off, so basically where the equipment is right now, that'll be fenced off so that kids
It'll-
can't access it.
If you draw a
right?
square and you take one corner of it and put some sort of a radius,
Yep.
the radius will be partitioned off from the rest of the park.
Okay. And so whatever is there for equipment that can be used will be accessible. The remainder of it will
Most of
be
the
closed
equipment is
off.
going to be exiting soon. You know, we continually picking up trash, and, you know, there's a cluster of trees now that are going to get moved and planted and so on and so forth. Like I said, the existing chain link fence along Chelsea Street will be removed and replaced with the new ornamental iron fence. We'll probably stop the ornamental iron fence, maybe 6 to 8 sections to the corner of that property line, just to be able to have access and leave the existing chain link in place. You're going to see green grass and mulch, and
Okay. So I appreciate you coming
Sure.
up here. I appreciate the time frame. The only thing I'd say, and I know it's nothing you haven't heard already, I'm sure, from everybody.
I've heard it.
We just want to get it done. I'm sure you want to get it done as much
I
as we
do.
want to get it done.
Believe me, I do.
So if you, in the interim, the hole's going to get backfilled, which is great because I don't want kids falling in there. We've got all kinds of equipment. If we could fence that off in such a way that while you
Oh,
finish the remainder of it.
it will
'cause,
be.
you know, kids are going to want to play in a Bobcat. They're going to want to go on. the
Believe me,
back.
I'm concerned every
So-
day when I see children in there playing. I don't like it and want to see it, but the minute you ask them to leave, you go around the block and they come back.
Oh, absolutely.
And in defense of them, they want a place to play, and I get it, and it's a new park, and there's new rubber, and there's colors, and they're curious, so
And so you're waiting on the electric company for what exactly do they
Well,
have to do?
they have to bring power to the little, I don't know if you've seen the little hut that we built,
Yeah,
shed,
The
garage.
cinder block one, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's gonna house the electrical or?
That's gonna house electrical, water, it's pretty
Everything. That's where the-
sophisticated in there.
That's where
Yes, yeah.
okay, the motors and stuff there. So, just again, just to wrap it up, I just want to make sure that I have it. So the hole's going to get backfilled, the passive part of the park will be able to be used, probably like next week, and you're thinking?
End of
by-
June.
By late June, we're done completely.
And let me say this, you know, Tony's been gracious, and he's been very accommodating. It's not their fault, it's my fault, I'll be the first to say it. This spring was our intention to get out there, and we've really made a concerted effort to complete the park. But they've been very patient. Most of the delays were caused by me, some were by the city and by the power company, and there were some, I don't want to call them issues, but some conflicts in the drawings that need to get overcome with some, you know, utilities that need to get brought in that, you know, who was the responsible party, but most of the delays were caused by me, not the city. I'll take full responsibility of that. I want you to understand that. It has nothing to do with Tony or his staff not doing their job or not staying on top of me, because believe me, they do, and I actually feel bad because you know, they're good people to work for. They're not.
He's a great guy.
He is. He's a terrific guy. But
You're a good guy, too.
no, I appreciate that.
We
The
just
delays.
want it done.
Believe me, I get it. I know.
So, all right, so whatever you can do to bring that to completion, I appreciate it. I do appreciate you coming
Sure.
up here to explain what's left to be done, and, because the kids are gonna get out of school soon, and we just want it done and let them enjoy it for the summer.
No,
so.
I want to get it done. I understand.
I don't have any other
All
questions,
set,
thank you.
Counselor? I gave latitude to both gentlemen. I just want
Thank
to
you.
state that. So, Councilman Delasola.
That building you're working on now, Ray, was that an add-on to the project, or was that part of the project?
That was an add-on.
Was it add-on?
That was added on 3 weeks ago.
A few weeks ago. Okay, I know the trees will be planted. My question, we have all these beautiful parks. I saw the meadows. I think it's beautiful, maybe too elaborate. the way it
Sure.
is. The maintenance of these jets, the maintenance of these water parks that seems to be rolling with lately. If you don't want to answer, you don't have to answer the question. Do you think the city can maintain these to be working for the next 10 years without every spring opening up and this head's broken or they forgot to flush this line out?
Sure. Absolutely not.
But this is my issue with
Absolutely
some
not.
of the parks we have.
Yeah.
They look beautiful for the year or so, and then little things start breaking here and there. We don't have the manpower.
Absolutely not.
Nothing against the DPW. We don't have the manpower to go out and repair these things. Now, you're talking 40-something jets on that one park itself. The other parks have 16 or whatever it is. This is my problem, is the cost to hire someone, if our guys can't handle it because of manpower,
truthfully,
to maintain these?
I'm not the Director of Public Works, I'm not the Director of Community Development. What I would do, and my recommendation would be hire a third-party company to come in and oversee the splash parks, the opening and closing of them, and have some sort of a maintenance contract. And, you know, it's not just Everett that's having this obstacle to overcome, it's a lot of these communities now, because it is the new trend, right? You know, years ago, when I was a kid, we used to go to Idiot Street, we used to step on them and these little things, and if DPW came out once a week to open them, you were lucky. Now, it's expected for them to be open. There was no maintenance, it was a dirty old steel pipe that shot water out. Now it's all sorts.
Park, you had a piece of pipe up in the middle with holes in it.
Yeah.
Ran around it, that was.
Yeah, no,
that was our
it's-
water park.
It's, you know, the city, and
You're showing your age.
the city has built some very elaborate, very detailed parks. And, you know, I do a lot of work in other cities, and a lot of other cities and towns, and a lot of people have commented, the parks too, they look beautiful, they look great, but it is maintenance.
That's the right.
It is definitely maintenance. But, you know, it's one of these things, we're invested in the parks, so you either invest in maintaining them, or you're gonna be redoing them every 5 to 10 years. It's pick your poison.
Right, that's my problem, even with the rubber courts, you maintain those.
Sure.
Which is great, it looks nice,
But don't
I'll
forget,
go
with the
for
rubber
it.
courts, you know, they're great. They're better than that play mulch, but
mulch in the sand.
if you have fresh children and they want to light them on fire, the city, the maintenance, DPW, third party, they're not going to control that.
Correct.
You know, if you have kids that want to vandalize, they're going to vandalize.
Right. I'm just afraid the water park, these splash parks are gonna cost us, maintaining once they break. Maintaining ain't gonna be that bad, if we don't take care of it from the beginning, it's not gonna work out.
Sure.
But, thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for coming up.
All set, Counsel?
Yes, I am.
I have questions. Do we have a bid on a third party that's actually going to take a look at the maintenance portion of this from the city?
So working with DPW, as was mentioned earlier, the recommendation is to get a third party to assist with the maintenance of it. We don't have a person or a contractor on board for the maintenance, but that is recommendation and something we're definitely going to look at to ensure we have. If we can't do it in-house, then we have to go get a third party. Same thing for sprinkler heads too, in the ball fields and so on. It's intricate, but maintenance is the key. So that's certainly something that Director Navarro and I have talked about, and we'll be working on putting something together, either have the proper training in-house, or if he feels he needs outside third party, then we'll certain to have that in place.
Has that, has that cost been analyzed already and incorporated with the cost of the park?
I would have to defer to him in terms of the maintenance cost to it. Again, if you're able to do it in-house, the cost is minimal. If you have to go third party, certainly there is a cost to that.
All right, and then what was the cost of the park itself to put in these 46 jets? Approximate,
Yeah, 1.5. Approximately 1.5,
1.5?
correct.
Now, is there going to be an additional phase to this park? I know they were talking.
Phase 2 would be the ball field area, be a completely separate contract.
And is that contract going to be still under the same? Oh,
It would have to go out to bid and so on.
Okay.
But certainly the priority first is, as discussed, was to get Phase 1 open and operating, and then
Now,
we'll move forward.
what assurances do we have from the company that put in these water jets and everything else?
Sure, the assurance is that it's their responsibility certainly to ensure that all of the equipment operates properly. It is our responsibility to ensure that we take all of the measures to make sure that the equipment is maintained and winterized and so on. So ultimately, there is, at the closeout of every project, same thing as we did with Day Park and so on, there is a training and exchange of information, manuals and so on, again, to ensure that everything is, everyone understands what they need to do to properly handle, operate, and maintain the equipment.
All right,
No different than in any other city as well.
okay, so what I'm saying is, all right, so we have some type of insurance that everything's going to work properly at that time, the company turns
I'm
it over,
responsible for 1 year.
and then you have 1 year behind.
I have a 1-year warranty.
All right, that's what I was looking at. I wanted to see where.
You know, the
it's at.
warranty doesn't cover act of God or vandalism.
Sure, so vandalism, act of God, or anything like that, say
Lightning.
lightning,
Because
winters, you know, heavy winters, I mean, that could be a problem, pose a problem.
It should be, but if it's blown out properly, then, you know, the winterization of the lines, you can hook an air compressor up. You hook an air compressor up and flush the air through the lines, it pushes all the
So
water
it's
out.
almost like a irrigation, like.
It's exactly
okay.
what it is. But if you get a lightning strike and it shoots out, hits a panel, an electrical panel, then you're gonna have issues.
Yeah. All right, thank you on, Councilman Capone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, Greg, you might be in a better position to answer something than Tony, I don't know, so it's not my area, so one of you, it's better for you guys than me. Barring any kind of vandalism, act of God, anything of that nature, if the city properly maintains the system, does everything it's supposed to do, winterize it, et cetera, what do you think the lifespan for everything should be?
It's a good question, because it's hard to give a safe answer, because it's one of these things. I'm going to give you a good analogy. Remember Malden Catholic 15 years ago was the first high school or field to put in that synthetic rubber. The lifespan, they were the pioneer of it. The lifespan was supposed to be 10 years for those fields. Now the lifespan is 5 or 7 years. Malden Catholic, after 15 years, changed their field last year. So they got 15 years out of that. The lifespan of these water parks,
I guess it's a range.
it's a huge range.
On the low side, if you are, I know, obviously, if you don't maintain it, it's gonna be garbage really early. But if you do maintain it, what would you expect would be? You would
10 years, easily.
10
10,
easily?
15 years, oh,
Okay,
yeah.
well, that's good to know, okay. All right,
I
great.
mean, you
Thank
might have a jet that needs to be changed,
Sure,
or you
little
might
things you have
have
to address, yeah.
little gadgets that might need some working on.
All right, thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Councilman Delasola.
Just a comment, probably to Tony, talk about the maintenance, which is a big thing here. We did that small piece at, I don't want to change the subject of parks, Glendale Park where the swing set is.
Yes.
We still get 2 sprinkler heads sticking up in the air, 3 feet out of the air. That, this is what I'm talking about, comes to maintenance. That's all done, and we still got 2 sprinkler pipes sticking up out of the ground.
Sure, I'd be happy to follow up with Director Navarro and his team about the issues with that.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Excuse the customary thanks. Thank you for appearing
Thank you.
tonight,
Thank you.
gentlemen.
You guys.
Thank you.
Pleasure on the piece.
Well, at this point, I would say we recommend to go out and refer back to sponsor.
Want to
I think
refer
we-
back, or
yeah,
you
I
want to
think-
hold it?
Well, I mean, it's the end of the month. When do we-
September.
It threw you to our clerk, is it September, if you'd like to have a meeting? So, you know what, I'd say refer back to sponsor. Let's keep our fingers crossed, everything's gonna be good. If we have to address it again, we can always put it on.
All right. Motion made and seconded to refer back to sponsor. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have done that. Please refer back to sponsor. We have. Yeah. Number 8, we're gonna go with. Number 8, we're gonna go with. No, we're gonna go with number 8.
All right. Item number 8 is a resolution by Council Simonelli to consider putting up memorial benches up and down Broadway to honor past veterans, city officials, police, and fire departments.
Could we? You want me to?
We invite,
Communication received from Mayor Chief of Staff O'Donnell that would be unable to attend. All right, so this is for number 8. Communication received by the Mayor's Chief of Staff, Kevin O'Donnell, that he would not be able to attend due to a family commitment. Matter should not be on the agenda since at the last meeting, there's going to be a specific work group to research this issue with the sponsor and appropriate department heads, and that the work group report back to the committee with a conclusion, or a conclusion to the resolution. Councilman Delasola, I believe you were on that, as well as
Councilor
Councilman
DePiero. I was wondering if we can invite up Sergio Cornelio,
Can we have,
Tony Souza on this. They may have some input.
can we have all 3 gentlemen come up?
And Councilor Simonelli also.
Just state your names and titles.
You can sit there, though.
We have Councilman Simonelli as a sponsor,
So I'm here to assist Councilor Simonelli.
and we have Assistant City Clerk assisting Councilman Simonelli.
And joining Tony Sousa, Director of Planning and Development.
Thank you. Thank you for appearing, gentlemen. Councilman Delasola.
Just so the people know at home, this piece is, Council Simonelli brought this up to one of our meetings about putting benches around the city with elected officials' names or, am I correct or wrong, anybody names on it? Correct? Veterans, family members. So I could let them explain what, how far we've gone so far with this.
Sure. Simply to, just following up as what Mr. O'Donnell sent over his communication, we are in the process of establishing a working group together to create some type of policy with respect to the naming of these benches and other memorials and such.
Thank you for that information.
Right, they're going to be meeting. So that question they answered. So Councilor Simonelli, so he has some questions, but obviously we know it's going to be referred to a working committee. He wants to see as many councilors involved as possible, where, especially where it's veterans and maybe former elected officials, former mayors who aren't, we've had a lot of long-serving former mayors that aren't honored, so something that he's looking for. So obviously maybe besides him as a sponsor and Anthony as the president, if some of the other councilors would be involved, you might have some good insight on people. Correct? Also, just to talk out, Councilor Simonelli had put on prior, I think a few meetings ago, for something for Councilor King.
Yes.
So what Tony and I, Tony had worked on and got some information from my office about Councilor King. And if we don't know that the park in front of my house, Florence Street Park, the playground, the baseball diamond is the King Park. And named after his brother, who helped clean it up when there was a dump at one time and helped the renovation process early, and he was a veteran. So Tony's idea was to collaborate, taking Councilor Simonelli's idea to put Councilor King somewhere. We had discussed that since his brother was already there, and if you know Joe, he was there almost every day to visit that plaque. I lived out front, so we used to sit and talk for like an hour in front of that plaque. Sure. Almost every weekend. So he's going to be, it's tied in and it's not, though this was more for the street. It's the same idea. There are parks that we put benches in anyway. Why not utilize it where you put a name on it, maybe the family donates a little bit to offset some of the costs for the municipality, for our city, and it still gets to honor those veterans, those residents, those councilors, mayors, and so on and so forth. So Tony put this together, and they're going to be working on a placement, the planning department, where the stone for Councilor King's brother and the bench will be hopefully somewhere near each other, so you can reflect, and it's still the King Park, but now it's for both of them. So I thought it was a nice idea, and I got to commend Tony for that.
That's Mr. Souza.
Excuse me, sorry, yes. Director Souza, actually.
Director Souza. Thank you for
Be
that
informal.
information.
You're welcome.
Are you,
They're going to refer to a working committee, so you'll be invited. Yes, okay. He just wanted to make sure
Okay.
he'd be invited with the council.
Councilman McLaughlin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was not able to attend the last meeting. I want to congratulate Councilor Simonelli. This is a great idea. This is really something that is overdue, and it's really something honorable. And I want to thank you, Councilor Simonelli, for bringing this forward. I would also be very enjoyable to work on this committee, and hopefully that I'll be considered to great. So everybody collaboratively, as Councilor Simonelli said, can work on this together. I really think that this is a great idea, and will honor a lot of our forefathers, a lot of people that made Everett what it is today. And a lot of, Councilor Simonelli's grandfather and father served here. A lot of their friends, we're going to remember a lot of those individuals that made today so great in Everett. It wasn't us that really made it. We're just carrying the football down the field. It's these other individuals that really fundamentally made Everett what it is today. And I couldn't be more excited to hear Director Souza, your suggestion on the Florence Street Park renovation or dedication to Councilor King. As Mr. Canelio said, I remember so many days spending at Florence Street Park with Councilor King, just talking about the old neighborhood and talking about, him growing up on Chatham Road, and so many memories that he had of that neighborhood. And I think that doing something in that park in honor of him and / his brother is a tremendous idea. I was very excited when Councilor Simonelli put this forward, because he was an individual that we should be honoring in this community. And I send congratulations to you on this idea.
Go ahead, Director.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just simply though, it was Councilor Simonelli's idea. My staff and I, we just get the benefit of, honestly, of working on these things, and it is one of the things that personally I enjoy doing very much. I don't necessarily know everyone here in town, and certainly, but it's with a lot of respect and enjoyment, really, when we get to do this type of stuff. So I sincerely thank Councilor Simonelli for bringing it on the forefront, and likewise.
Yeah, and I could not agree more with you. Councilor Simonelli's dedication to that neighborhood and his vision for that neighborhood, working with Councilor King and being his friend for a long time. I want to congratulate Councilor Simonelli. It's definitely his leadership and his idea, and I'm really excited to see this piece. And I was, when I watched the previous meeting at home, I was really excited to see this item before us, and I look forward to talking about it tonight. So great job, Councilor Simonelli. Great work always.
All set, Council? Councilman Capone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't want to belabor the piece, but I think
Belabor
it
if
is.
you must.
I think it's important, because it is important to remember those who came before us and the contributions that they've made. And I'm glad that it was Councilor Simonelli that put it forward, and it doesn't surprise me, because he's a class act, and I would expect no less. So congratulations on it. Anything I can do to help, I'm happy to do it, and I think it's long overdue.
Thank you. Councilman De La Sola, do you have anything?
Just to echo the words of my colleague, I had an uncle, Gil, that was involved. Like these names that will go on these benches, like Councilman McCall said, it's the foundation of Everett. Started many, many years ago, and we're just carrying the torch. And 30 years from now, maybe they'll throw our name on a bench. But thank you, Councilor.
But we get a cushion for yours. I just, from the chair, this is a great piece. Thank you, Mr. Simonelli, Councilman Simonelli, I should say. And, it's good thinking like this that gets things, accomplished in the city, and it makes it look very nice in our city as well. And it shows that we actually care about people that have actually moved on or passed on, and veterans and counselors and public servants and any other family members that are out there that would like to get involved with this. My question would be to go to the assistant clerk now and to actually make sure that this is scheduled, and the director, that this meeting gets scheduled. The two members that were stated will get involved with it. If any other members would like to attend that meeting, they may do so as well.
Yeah.
But just to get it up and
You
running.
could definitely refer it to me, and I'll work with the mayor's office, because obviously Kevin and the chief of staff and the mayor want to be involved.
So I mean, I would like to see what other surrounding communities are doing with this, if in fact they are.
Yeah, I'm in the process, because obviously, because of the anniversary year, we've taken some ideas from other cities, so I'm actually going out in the next couple of weeks, going to visit some of the clerk's offices for multiple reasons. One, because of Michael leaving, and because of the anniversary, so I'm trying to go and get some other ideas from other communities, so that it's actually in the works over the next couple of weeks, what I'll be doing.
Awesome. So we can refer it to your office.
Along with the mayor, I would
And
definitely
the mayor's
put the mayor's office on there also, because they're going to take the lead as the executive of the city, okay?
Right. Excuse the customary thanks. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for appearing. Thank you, Councilman Simonelli.
Make a motion, we refer this to the city clerk's office and to the mayor's office.
Motion made to refer this item to the city clerk's office and the mayor's office to set up an appointment or a meeting on this matter. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. You have done so. All right.
right, item number 1. This is a resolution by Council McLaughlin to invite the chief of police for an update regarding steps being taken before the opening of Wynn Everett.
Councilman McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This has been in committee a long time. We've had multitude of meetings regarding this, both here on the floor and privately. I'm going to refer this item back to sponsor tonight, but don't be surprised to see this item come back again at another date. I don't just want this to continue kicking around committee, but I do want to revisit it in, say, a year from now or 10 months from now. I want to know where we are at that point, making sure that we're always meeting our goals and our plan that the chief and the administration has put forward in collaboration with us. I want to make sure that we're meeting those goals, putting 10 police officers on a year and the other things that we've talked about so many other times. So I'll refer it back to sponsor tonight, but again, don't be surprised to see this item back on the calendar at a later date in 2018.
Absolutely.
So I'll refer back to sponsor
Motion
tonight.
made and seconded to refer this item back to sponsor. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have done that. Please read item number 3.
Item number 3 is the communication findings from the Election Commission on an order that was sought by Council McKinnon and Ray Matusky relative to candidate residency requirement.
Someone make a motion to accept the communication placed on file.
Can we have the communication read, or I'm not sure what it is?
This
Okay, I'm sorry.
Counselor, it's lengthy.
I apologize. I do have a
and,
copy of it in front of me. Mr. Burley gave it to me, so I apologize.
Accept the communication, place on file?
Motion made and seconded to accept the communication placed on file. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it.
What's your pleasure with the piece?
Seeing, it's my piece, and I believe Mr. Matusky is on it as well. There's also recommendations that were on it, so, yeah. We're just going to accept the communication placed on file, and as we already done. I just want to make mention that this piece here was put on because of the candidates and different actions that would be taken if, in fact, there was evidence against a candidate or something to that effect that they were not living in the city. So it's a lengthy package, and I know that when I met with the commission, they were very, very advantageous upon this item. So I'm glad to see that it's such a lengthy item. I just want to thank them, and I will be referring this back to sponsor. If there is any issues that arise, we'll be putting this piece back on, and we will ask them to appear before us. But I want to thank them for their work and their due diligence. Thank you very much. Motion made and seconded to refer this item back to sponsor. Oh, actually, we're going to place it on file, and we have it on file. If I need to bring it back, that's what we'll do. Motion made, accept communication, place on file. We've done that. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. Please read item number 4.
All right, item number 4 is a resolution by Council McKinnon to increase police patrols at Walgreens and Glendale package stores to stop loitering and harassment of patrons.
I have communication on this, that mid-June, they will have a security company in place. They've already worked out with our police that they have a working communication with the police. The signage, was that up there? They have signage up as well, as they had indicated they were going to do. I know that the police have been there, and they will continue from Wednesday through Saturday, and I won't state the times because I don't want to give that up to the public now, but they will be there from Wednesday and Saturday through Saturday during the next couple of months anyway. But then after that, there should be a security company on premise mid-June. So what I'm going to do is refer this back to sponsor if we need. Okay, actually, you have questions on this, Councilman McLaughlin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I know you've been working closely on this, and it's a very valid piece. I just wanted to know if the chief he stated previously that he couldn't enforce moving these individuals along. But now that there's signage on site, can our officers move individuals along because the signage is now posted?
Yeah, reason why, and I'll give you the
And that's why I wanted to ask you a couple of questions, and
Sure.
maybe you can answer them if you've conversated with the
Yeah.
chief.
What we have done is, they have written an agreement from the company. It's a no trespass agreement with the police, so they can go on and actually do everything they have to do now with the company's approval, so they have that. They also have the signage in play. They took every step that we asked them
No,
to do.
that's tremendous work, and kudos to you, because this has been an issue for all of our residents in the
Mm-hmm.
city, and it's not just this facility.
It-
We're seeing it all throughout the city. I know an individual that goes and buys his newspaper every morning at a local store, and he's always being harassed by the same handful of
Sure.
panhandlers, and, we need to move these people along.
As they arise, I mean, we can actually move this to, site to site to site. But
Okay.
this is probably going to be the premise of each one that we have to do. That individual's, according to the clerk, the individual is not doing that any longer, so.
That's great. So I'm happy to hear that. So maybe the message is going to throughout the city, and that's what we needed to send. I would just like to ask
We're
the chief-
trying to clean it up.
Absolutely, and I think there's a lot of sites that need to be cleaned up, but this might be the formula or the footprint to be able to have other developments like Rite Aid or whatever it might be in the city to use this footprint to be able to mimic, to be able to clean up their site.
Absolutely.
I'd just like to ask the chief, per you, Counselor, if we could maybe randomly get a report of how many individuals they're moving along, and if there's any issues. I'd like to just know if we're arresting anybody, say, in front of Walgreens that are, giving a hard time, and it
Sure.
becomes more of an escalated issue.
We can recommend reports of that nature, but it would be only on arrests. It wouldn't be on the move along itself.
Sure.
They're going to be working hand in hand with the security company that's there. We may want to actually have the security company up in September to see if we can get some type of numbers from them.
Sure.
And as well with the police department as well. I'll reintroduce it back on in September.
Okay. Yeah, no, and then that's fine. It's just some of the thought
But in the
process.
intimate period of time, you can call the chief
Sure,
yourself
and
or
absolutely.
the security company.
And when the
Just question.
security company's hired, I'm sure we can go down there and meet with them individually and talk to them about it, and I plan on
Absolutely.
doing that. I'm pleased, very pleased to know that this has been put forward, and thank you, Council McKinnon, for your
Yeah.
leadership on this item.
Thank you. So on this item, I'm going to refer this back to sponsor, seeing that they have actually, done everything that we've asked. So motion made and seconded to refer back to sponsor. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. You have done so.
All right, item number 5. Item number 5. This is a resolution by Council McKinnon to invite the Fire Chief Tony Colley to the next public safety meeting to discuss the predatory actions of companies that show up at fire.
The chief, Tony Colley, is not in the audience, but the assistant city clerk is. May we have him come before us? Motion made and seconded to invite the assistant city clerk up before us.
Thank you.
All those in
I'm-
favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. Please state your name.
Assistant City Clerk Sergio Canelio.
Thank you.
I'm going to be very brief on this. The city does not feel it is in our best interest at the moment to go forward with this. Maybe something that we revisit at another time. I was in the process of looking at other communities, and I will still do that.
Sure.
But it's going to take some time and see if it's the right thing to do for us. I know the issues. The chief knew the issues, and he can speak on it better than I can. But
There was a few, I know that there was a legality issue that was arised, and they're looking into it now, so.
correct. After talking with Attorney Mahir, and I just recommend referring it back to sponsor at the moment, and then maybe we'll discuss it in person later and
Sure.
see if it's something that you can bring back,
Absolutely.
if that's okay.
Councilman McLaughlin?
Mr. Chairman, again, on this item, great job. We've all been to fires across the city, and we've seen this firsthand. I know you had one on your own street that you've seen it, but we've all seen this in action. I'm just wondering if we could send out a courtesy letter to these individuals, just reminding them or asking them, and a friendly reminder that, at the crucial time that your house is on fire, I'm sure the last thing you're thinking about is signing on the dotted line. I can't even imagine what I would be thinking or my colleagues would be thinking. So I don't know if that can happen through your office, Sergio, but just as a friendly reminder to these individuals that maybe they can take a step back and take a deep breath for, a few minutes or a little while.
Counselor, on this?
I think that's out of my authority.
Yeah, on this.
Okay. So
I would ask
I don't
that
want to
refer-
overstep my bounds.
What I would do is ask that we refer it back to sponsor, and then we could actually bring it up with our city solicitor at a different time. And then if we have to bring this back up at a certain date, maybe September, October, and just monitor what's going on through our fire department chief and also through the city solicitor and assistant city clerk, we could probably put something back on the calendar at a later
sure,
date.
no, I have no problem with that whatsoever. And again, good job, Councilman McKinnon. This
Thank you.
is definitely a valid point, valid piece.
Refer back to sponsor. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you for appearing.
All right, item number 6. This is a resolution held by Councilor McKinnon and Anthony DePiero to establish a task force of public safety. You do have a communication.
Yes, I have.
Mayor's chief of staff.
The chief of staff apologizes. He had a family commitment tonight. He could not be in attendance, but according to his communication, they have been actually sharing information from agency to agency. My only item on this would be that I was asking the IT director to look into a computer system on that. I will look into that myself and refer this back to sponsor. If I need to, I would ask that I would reintroduce this so that we may actually have some type of communication through the technology department, and each agency can share information at that point. So I'd like to refer this back to sponsor with further comment on this later, and if we have to bring it back, we will. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. Yeah. Motion to adjourn. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it.